I guess I've had a rather unusual exposure to the it factor.
Now, what is it?
It's really hard to define the whole thing.
Maybe it has to do with the Pennsylvania Dutchmen of central Pennsylvania, hard-headed and stand up for what they believe and just refuse to fail.
You got a lot of A personalities who somehow figure out how to work together and meld together and work towards the common cause.
Also the enthusiasm of having the most successful chapter of ABC in history, and a lot of people that brings their best nature forward.
When I left here and went to Northern Ohio, I could look back at the Keystone. And the Keystone chapter still, in all those years I left, had a spirit at the core about it that none of the others did. And it's from the people that build it.
It's an infectious desire to not only succeed, but to surpass.
It is an overwhelming sense of mission.
The mission has always been very clear and the vision is very clear. And I think everybody buys into it.
Which made me feel even stronger that I was part of a unity, part of a group that was together, knitted together, and had the same commitment to the construction industry.
If someone has an issue or has a problem, they try to help each other and get through it. And I think that, as much as anything, drives who we are as a chapter, as an organization.
It has made stronger relationships with our peers and our suppliers.
You begin to compete then with guys that are good competition. You're not trying to beat some guy that just went to the hardware store and got a hammer.
People are truly committed to the organization and committed to moving forward the goals, particularly the right to work merit shop in a state where we're not a right to work state.
And that's what that it is, that as those obstacles come in front of members of Keystone, the chapter grabs hold of that and does what it can to help its members and the construction industry as a whole.
Union activity was pretty vigorous in terms of picketing and strikes and even some violence.
Trying to ensure contractors' right to work merit shop was certainly the focal point. There were other issues that came and went, but I think that was the most transcending issue that was around for at least a decade and still is around today.
3 guys pulled me between the 2 buildings, and 2 held me like that, while the other one worked me over here and said, "You got the message."
They would shoot out my tires. They actually shot out my tires. As you're driving along, they just shoot at you.
The Valley Forge job, the bricklayers were laying brick on the scaffold on the walls, and they had slings, the rifles on slings slung over their shoulder.
I remember the Wilson incident of the early 80s.
If you were an ABC contractor, you weren't supposed to be building too far out of Lancaster County. Wilson Construction Company had a very nice job, in addition onto the Brandywine River Museum in Delaware County. And they were encountering picketing by the Philadelphia Building Construction Trades Council.
There was a man in a white shirt with his sleeves rolled up, and he was leaning on the steering wheel like that, and he had these great big arms. And he saw us coming around the corner with the dump truck and 5 or 6 of our cameras and so forth, trying to get in there. He opened the door, and out came these, I don't know what you want to call them, 40 or 50 goons.
The picketers grabbed me and turned me upside down and were kind of hitting me on the pavement with my head and trying to take a picket sign and stuff it somewhere where a picket sign shouldn't go.
I was taking pictures with a still camera.
Pictures of the picketers beating me up in an effort to get them to stop.
All of a sudden I could see an arm coming at me with a stone in it, a rock in it, and wham, I got hit in the head.
So we had the tape of them beating me up, beating Mr. Wilson up, and then grabbing the camera. And eventually, we wound up testifying in front of the U.S. Senate Judiciary Committee when they were looking to amend the Hobbs Act for labor violence.
Just this week, we were up in Harrisburg, and we were there with a bunch of picketing unioners, and not at one time did I feel like I was going to be physically threatened. They were loud, they were boisterous, and they said a lot of things I didn't agree with, but never once did I feel like the same thing that happened in 1983 was going to happen to me in 2009. So things have changed a lot.
And just to communicate that and to share that and let them know what past struggles have been fought so that you can work as you please. And they have embraced that.
The chapter was making a concerted effort to make an impact on the politics of the day. And I think what we're doing today as a chapter probably is from some of that legwork that was done during that period of time.
Changes in union tactics and, with union membership dropping off, PLAs became a new technique, so that pretty much all occurred during my time on the board exec committee and having to deal with that and, find new strategies to work with or at sometimes challenge the unions.
Collectively, we have to find different things that we can do, different ways that we approach what we do. And it'll be a struggle, but that's kind of how it is.
You've got to win with logic and not with thuggery. And that's what ABC is all about, in my view.